it is my role, it's my responsibility that I guide you. It's my responsibility that I indeed guide you. One of the examples that I want to give is, students struggling with their assignments. Remember, it is very critical for me, because some of you are already submitting assignment number 3. I don't know, others are still submitting number 4. You are very far. And when we look at the content that, we're going to be dealing with, then the content is going to be, the content is far behind, but the assignments are far forward. So now I had to strike the balance between the two, because I realized that you are going to write the assignments, and particular assignments are divided into chapters, of which now, the content I never dealt with so far. So, the only assessment that would cover all chapters is the last assessment. In other modules, it carries 40%. Then assignment number 2 and number 3, mostly depending on which module, they carry 25% each, 25% each. So now, for now, it is very, very important to understand assignments, how to write assignment. That to me is very, very important, because I assume that some of the chapters, you understand them. So now today is my last, I can say it's my last, moment to finalize, how you have to master your assignment. So more especially to 1502, then to 2601, and is a bit different because it's a lot of calculations there. So now, be that as it may, I also understand that today, the 2601, they submitted, I think there was a due date today, if not mistaken. I don't know whether it was the 3rd. It was the assignment number 2. Assessment number 2. They submitted today. It means that they're left with 3 and 4. And hear me very well. Meaning that for assessment number 3 and 4, when I'm dealing with the content, I would, although the previous chapters are very important, it means that I will start from where you are going to start assignment number 3. Then after finishing from those chapters, I must go back. In fact, because assessment number 4, it just did all the chapters, meaning that we must be quick finalizing the chapters that covers assignment number 3 and number 4. But number 4 is also covered with other chapters behind. This is how, just note this. It means that when we meet, I don't know whether it's Thursday, when we meet on the 17th, it's Wednesday. When we meet, we are going to deal with something like that. We are going to deal with the content. So your availability is very, very important. And the other critical thing that I emphasized is that although all these models, they fall under one discipline called industrial psychology, then their content is very different. It's unlike the one for HR, because for HR, I can, deal with them combined. So now, I said, in order for us to work well, the days that we are going to have 2 hours, I'm gonna divide that hours into 26:15:02 and 26:01. It means that the other hour will cover 15:02. The other one will cover 26:01. This is very important. You must note it. But when there's an hour only, we are going to alternate, like IOP, which is coming on Wednesday, if not mistaken. Then I will let you know, maybe when we close. Then I will prefer 26:01 first. I'm repeating, the day that we are going to have 1 hour, I will choose which one I must deal with. But the day that we are going to deal with or 2 hours, I will firstly start with 15:02, then I go to 26:01. If ever, like for example, Thursday, if ever it's Thursday and there is 2 hours, it means I'm gonna start with 15:02. Then I will go to 26:01. So that at least, because the content are different, I can attend to your needs. That is where now we're gonna have a lot of questions, So those are the gray areas that I got. It's unlike HR. HR has got 3, I'm dealing with 3 model at once, but all of them I can deal with them because they are very much related. Remember, 26:01 is research, This one is market, customer service and tourism. So that one you must understand that way. But today is also very important because I said I needed students to send me the assessments, your assessment, the previous assessment. I mean, if ever you've done assessment number 1, number 2, number 3, all assessments that are available, I needed one of the students to send them to me in IOP 26:01 and IOP 1502. Then it helps me in my preparations. It helps me a great deal in my prepare for the content, So it helps me a great deal because I don't have those assessments, assignments whatsoever. It's just helping to prepare. So I would want someone, before I even proceed, to raise up your hand and tell me if ever you're gonna help me. Who's gonna help me with 15:01, with 15:02? Today I'm gonna continue with the questioning of assignments. The questioning of assignments. So I'm gonna flag. I'm not gonna start with the structure and so forth. This is where lies a problem. Both 15:01 and 15:02 and 26:01, I was analyzing some of the questions This is a problem. So now, from today onwards, let us really understand that when they say, what is that they expect from you? I gave you an example. This is very important. And I said, the following are examples of action words or verbs that are usually found in assignments and the kind of answer that could be given. All right. And based on the following list, although I may not have written everything, then I will write everything when I got your assessments, because if ever the other one is a execute, I must define what an execute is. So that's why I need those. So based on this list, determine the action words that are used in the assignment on which you are currently working. Right. We could discuss. When they say discuss in your assignment, but in 1502, 1502 is mostly explain and discuss, explain, yes, and describe. It's what I observed when I went through the material for 1502. It's mostly explain and describe, mostly. If ever they say discuss, what is it that expected of you? What they expect, they want you to examine various aspects of a topic. All right. You can do a critical approach. A critical approach should be followed. When you discuss something, you discuss this under a particular topic. Then now, you are discussing on what is happening, and also you need to also understand that when you discuss something, there are the good and there are the bad, the advantage and the disadvantage. So discussion is just needed to explore various topics. It depends. They will tell you about what, discuss what. It means you have to examine various aspects of a topic and have a critical approach when you deal with that. That's the first thing. The second thing is they will say analyze. And when they say analyze, they're expecting you as a student to divide things into sections or elements, okay, and discuss them in full. That is to analyze. In other words, it's like when you're operating something, all right? You have operated and you saw what is inside, and you are discussing each and every, thing inside of that which you have operated. That's why it says divide into sections, elements, and discuss in full. Then when they say compare, they require you to identify the similarities or differences. Can you see? In comparison, it's not the same as distinguish. Distinguishing means differentiating. Here is both. It's both distinguishing or showing differences and also similarities. When they say compare, that one is very, very important, because I have observed even some of the students where I work, because where I work, there are many students that are schooling. So what I realize is that students do not focus on what is being asked. They just jump into maybe 5 characteristics of customers. You just mention those customers, but you do not know, you do not explain. When they say explain, for example, you need to do something. Don't jump into what you know. Go to what you know to respond to the question asked. So don't forget, what does compare mean? So now, when they say contrast, to contrast is to point out the differences between certain set of objects or characteristics. In other words, you are like comparing, is just like a comparing two things. And after comparing those two things, you are pointing out the differences. Where does it different? Where is it, different from what is required? It's a contrast. So if you don't know this terminology, you won't answer the question, although you know the concept and the character and the whatsoever, but you don't know how to answer, which is a problem. When they say criticize, they are expecting you to point out the good and the bad characteristics and give your own opinion after taking all the facts or arguments or assumptions into account. You have to show the good and the bad characteristics you are criticizing. Yes, when you criticize me, you have to point out to say he's good in terms one, but when it comes to this and this, he needs improvement. That is criticize. So it's very, very important to students to understand when they say criticize. And when they say define or give a definition, this is more in the, you give a short and concise description of the subject or topic. Here, you don't explain. No, you just give a definition as it is. If you check compare and contrast, you check compare, we'll come to compare. Compare and contrast and criticize. They are similar, but they're not the same. Then there is this word called distinguish. To distinguish is to note the difference that distinguish two topics from one another. Is how do you differentiate them? How are they differing? So it's the same as this one, which I said they will say give the differences. Then when they say compare, evaluate, they are saying give an informed opinion on and measured against certain standards on a topic. Okay, there is what we call a, how can I say it? A monitor. Monitoring the process is when things are happening or the process is happening and there are some deviations that are hindering the process. When you are monitoring, you are putting something back to normal so that things can work together. So, but evaluate. This is the last assessment. Evaluate, you are giving an opinion, you measured against certain standards. It means that you are checking whether what has been done is meeting all the standards. You know, the process is finalized. Like, for example, when you're checking your statement of results, you're calling to IOP1501 and 1502. You know, you're comparing it against all other models that you have done. And you realize that, hey, I didn't expect I will pass. I got 70. what made me to reach this? You are evaluating the standards. Oh, okay, it's because I've done this. You know, our facilitator say this, and you know, so you are evaluating. The same applies to you if given a concept and a question. When they say evaluate, look at, you know, give an opinion on what is being measured against the standards. When they say examine, you examine and critically discuss a topic in terms of definite criteria or guidelines. You are critical. When you say you are critically, you know, sometimes we must be understanding these words. Critically is when you are looking at it, you know, the good and the bad. You know, you examine and critical discuss. When you discuss, you are very much cautious when you're discussing that concept or a topic. Because when you discuss it, you are discussing it, looking into what has been put for lines, whether it deviates or it follow the guidelines or the standards or the criteria. This one is explained, is dominated in 1502, this one. So now, when you are explaining, you are clarifying to ensure that the reader clearly understands your argument. It means you don't just mention things. You need to show insight. You are a university student. They don't expect you to write things and them. But when you are explaining, using your understanding, you are putting context with your in other words, you have read and understand, you are writing, you know, using your own understanding, you know, not copying words as they are, like plagiarism, you know. So you explain and clarify to ensure that the reader who is the marker, assessor of your assignments, understand your arguments. Sometimes when you explain, it depends. They will say use whatsoever, depending on what is it that is given. They will say explain in your own words. Explain by showing. You know, that is what you should really master. So here give is straightforward. They can say give the characteristics. You just give any facts without discussing. When you give an outline, you are presenting the data in brief, logical and systematic manner. This is also to do with 2601. Many times in 2601, you would require, more especially assessment number 3, and even assessment number 2 a bit. But in assessment number 3, you are going to use a lot of outline because the data that you are going to, you know, to present, you know, after those calculations. So it will require you to showcase, you know, to interpret, identify. When they say identify, they are saying name the most important characteristics of a topic. Or identify, it means you are naming that which they require you to name. So I'm saying to students, this topic, these terminologies are not exhausted. That's why I required, and I'm still saying I required your assistance in terms of, so that I can identify some of them and explain them to you. So I wanna say, with 1526 or 1502, with you guys, it's a lot of understanding the question, because most of the information is very straightforward. Like I said, you didn't even need a book. It does not in the book. Your guide, it has got 200 something pages. So with you, you just need to understand. And I'm telling you, because this is the last time I'm saying, because we are going to focus on the content. But now, some of you have already started writing assignments. So you must know this politics, how to write my assignment, you know, to the best of my ability, you know. Yes, I will finish by repeating the technical requirements. But as for you, students, the questions are based on the terminologies that I give unto you. So it's very, very important for you guys to master. And if ever there are other terminologies that you came across, which I are not written there, you can give them to me, then I write them. Then I can tell you what is it that they need, what is it that they need, you know, to answer, to respond to those questions. I want us to do dual work. You focus on your assignments, you focus on the content, you read. I don't want to spoon feed you. I want you to master customer service like nobody's business. And with the 2601, I want you to master those quantitative terminologies, because once you master them, once you master those terminologies of research, it means that you become a very good researcher. There is no analysis and collection of data when you are doing the quantitative study. You know, there is no way that you're gonna struggle. But you just need a lot of practice and understanding statistics. But as we go together, your understanding will be enlightened. You're going to understand. But the bottom line is, you don't come to the class without preparing for it. Come to the class having prepared for it. It makes the job easier. Remember, it should be much about you than me. So I'm just giving you this hint so that tomorrow when I ask questions, because I wouldn't want you to raise hands. If you don't raise hands, I will point at you, because it's your business. If ever combine our business, it works. We want students to master. That is why UNISA is a distant, learning university. It prepares you to be very independent and be a workaholic. So I'm saying this because I'm the product of UNISA in many of my qualifications. It just taught me, to be very independent. So the same applies to you. You are no longer student. Some of you are coming from grade 12, but now you are transitioning. You are transitioning, to this level of independence. However, because you wrote matric needed you to be independent. And in this case, don't wait, right? So now, I wanted to deal with the technical requirements. That's why I'm saying I'm doing it for the last time. In your assignment, there is a declaration. That declaration is just to confirm that you are the owner. It's just confirming to you that you are the owner of the assignment. No one wrote an assignment for you. I'm not going to write an assignment for you. I'm going to guide you, what is it that you should do when the question, but I'm gonna also give you a bit of content so that you can understand the concepts that I will do. So title page, sometimes the outside page, I mean, this is the information, because some students, they fail because of this. Table of contents, table of contents, students, that after the title page come the table of contents. The purpose of this table of contents is to provide a systematic overview of the assignment and to link headings and subheadings to specific page numbers. That one with page numbers is your table of contents. Whether it's handwritten or is typed, but the table of contents format remains. So I'm not going to dwell much on it. Numbering of pages is very important. Yeah, the text. The text of an assignment comprises both the content and the form components. During the planning and writing of assignment, both must receive continuous. When we talk about the content, sometimes you are going to be, we spoke about discuss. Maybe it's an essay type of question. If ever it's an essay type of question, they say discuss, you check at the marks. It say 20 marks. Obviously, why don't you give an introduction and explain the aim of that assignment, of that topic, and what is that you intend, to you explain the aim of the topic and what is it that it intends to do. The body comprised of logical and reasoning development of ideas. It depends. So this is how the style of writing should be, a real, how you should 1 point whatsoever. These are the form, assignment form. It's a form. They tell you what is it that font they need and so forth and so forth, and also the numerical value and the numbers, alphabetic. So how you should write your assignment clean. So now they said avoid tedious explanations, repetitions, and unnecessary information. And do not copy the study material without showing any level of interpretation or insight. Can you see? Do not just write because you copy from the book. Use your brain to explain what you read. They're not saying bring something new. They're saying use your English and your understanding, your interpretation to write this thing. So we use the good language, and we also pay attention to the construction of the sentences, punctuation, and paragraphing. So that's how we earn marks. The register of the assignment must be formal. Then avoid personal ways of expressing yourself. Inside, this is very important. Inside the assignment or in the assignment, you don't write want. You write the full sentence. And also TV, my TV. No, your television. But abbreviation can be used in instances like, for example, e.g., which is, for example, that is, and etc. But should ideally only be used between the brackets and must be written out in full. For example, or that is, etc., in the text. So now, if you are referring to organizations that are better known by their abbreviations or acronyms, then convention is to write out the name of the organization in full the first time that you refer to it, followed by acronym in the brackets, after which you may continue to use. For example, I'm full-time worker in the Department of Employment and Labor. Then now, because the reader does not know the acronym of employment and labor, my first address when I talk about employment and labor, I will say employment and labor and the brackets DEL. You know, DEL means Department of Employment and Labor. In other words, the following sentences, I no longer write employment and labor, I write DEL. Why? Because on top there, I've already indicated for employment and labor is, DEL is the acronym. So now, this is also very, very important. The list of sources must include different sources representing different points of view. Yes. 2 types of references must be used, namely in-text references, which may be in the sentences or paragraph. For example, you know, when you write your assignment, because you have a more special assignment, you not only get, you know, information from your prescribed textbook, you can also get from other sources. So now, to indicate that the information that you got is from another source, which is not your version, then now you must quote that person and also what is it that he said. For example, Dutoit, if ever the book or the article or the journal is writing in 2019 and that 11 is page number, Dutoit brackets 2019-11 argues that, can you see, that is the information that you got from Dutoit that support what you are going about. That is within the sentence. But when you are giving the reference or bibliography, when you write the bibliography about Dutoit, you are going to say Dutoit, then full stop 2019. This is the book, Integrated Organizational Communication. Then now, the place of publication, Cape Town, and the publisher is Juta. That is when they said list of reference. When they say list of reference, you do what? You do this, the last thing here, Dutoit 2019, Integrated Organizational was say, for example. But when you want to argue inside the sentence, inside the assignment, you write as Dutoit 2019, what is it that he said? So, and also try to use the university list of reference, you know, method. They prefer Harvard method. So now you must get to know what is a Harvard method, you know, list of references, and study it. You know what they require, what they don't require. It's very, very important. So here, labeling figures, illustration, and tables, it depends. Some they need drawing, some they need tables, and so forth. This one is mostly when you're doing the research and annexures. So now, I want to say, the presentation covered all the aspects that are important and will guide you when structuring your assignment. I've done my best just to give you this presentation of how the assignment should look like. You know, so the prescribed study material, the study guide and tutorial letters of the module you are registered for provide instructions on assignment. Can you see? I always emphasize tutorial letter 101 is a key. It will tell you, the lecturer will tell you what he prefers, what he does. If ever you haven't yet studied it thoroughly, you might have missed a lot of information. That is why you are also struggling with your assignment. Because that 101 it's like when a lecturer stands before you to tell you this is how I want things to be done. And this is how things are organized. So that's why they said if ever there's a problem and so forth, you call your lecturer. Yeah. Yeah, some of the assignments, some of the assignments, multi-choices, a multi-choice, multiple choice. And in multiple choice assignments, you should submit multiple choice assignment online via MyUnisa. You know that. Always ensure that your answers to multiple choice questions are ready before connecting to the internet. So there are those who are doing handwriting. This is how you should do it. After writing, using the 5 centimeter blank space and leaving the space for the lecturer, then now you must PDF that assignment before you send it to MyUnisa. You know how to use MyUnisa. And there is another assessment that we use, which is portfolio of evidence. Portfolio of evidence refers to a collection of evidence derived from experiential learning. And it is important to familiarize yourself with exactly what the portfolio should include, both in terms of content and format. If descriptions are required, for example, then mere artifacts, specimen, photos are. So, yes, some of you or some of us, more especially when you are in the third year, sometimes if they don't want to write exam, they will say prepare a portfolio of evidence. So this is how you should, you know, this is what a portfolio of evidence is and how you should prepare it. Adhere to the format and submission requirements. They will tell you how you should do it. So a portfolio takes much longer to compile than other types of assignments, which means you have to give yourself enough time to gather the evidence required and complete the portfolio by the due date. And if ever there is something that UNISA nowadays doesn't, if ever there is something that UNISA doesn't give them of is a late submission of assignments. So it is very, very important as a student to prepare that on time because it helps you. So as of now, I would want to, I haven't got the, I'm still worried. I haven't got anyone who is gonna send me 1502. Can you do that for your sake? Who can really, because on Wednesday, I think because this is our arrangement. It does not change the schedule anyway. It's just our arrangement. On Wednesday, I will need to, because Tuesday, yeah, let me just check this. The next class that has got 1 hour, like this one, the next class this week, the next class that has got 1 hour, I will need firstly 2601. Then the 2 hours one, I will start with 1502. Then I come to 2601. That should, and then the next, if ever Wednesday, it's an hour. I started with 2601. And Thursday, we are meeting together, 2 hours. I start with 1502, then 2601. If ever, anytime we meet, we have 2 hours. You know, I start with 1502, then 2601, so that I can concentrate on on the individual class. Oh, I think this one is for Miss Kutsi, the link, but anyway, the hour is gone right now. Maybe she might, yeah.
I did post the link for this meeting, the one that I've got. I don't have all the links because Lizzie only shared links with me for this module. And for, I think it's today and Thursday and next week, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Tuesday the 30th. But it's not all the links. I'm sorry that I don't have all the links.
Oh, okay, no problem.
While I'm talking, Mr. Negota, I know I just asked Lizzie now if you have access to my UNISA platform where the students get access to the content of the assessments. Apparently, she says you do not have it. So that is why if there's any student doing this module, IOP1502, please help Mr. Nagota to share the assignments, the questions with him, because he does not have access to the MyUNISA platform to be able to get hold of the questions. So please, if you can help him out, his email address is in the chat, and send through the assignment questions to him. That will really help him. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I really appreciate, and I want to believe that there is a good Samaritan here that can help me to help yourself. Then, is there any burning question? I will only accept one or two before we because now we are going for the content now. I've dealt with this so that I can help you. Is there anyone that has got a question? Okay. Thank you very much. We can leave the chat. We'll meet again. Oh.
Sorry, can I just explain to the students how to find the recording?
Yeah, please.
Okay. If you go, just let me know when you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see here on the chat side? Okay, let me just show you calendar. There you can see all your meetings that is going to take place. And up here at the top next to activity, there's chat. And you will see all the modules and all the assignments. I mean, not modules, all the, not assignments, all the sessions that you have been booked for will show on this side. So here is IOP 1502. Okay, the chat for IOP 1502. If you scroll up, you'll see all the chats that happened today, and further up, you'll see the recording for the session that took place on Friday. So once we end this session, go to the chat function over here, click on the IOP 1502, scroll back down, and then you will see the recording will be at the bottom here. At the end of this session, it will show here at the bottom. Okay, is that everybody understand?